Let's take a look at Wednesday in the NBA. There are 8 games on. Let's preview them. Let's look at streaming options, and let's hear from Michael Bolton.
Thanks, Josh. It's Michael Bolton here, and it's time for another episode of the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast. Let's get to it.
Let's get to it, indeed.
You are Locked On Fantasy, your daily NBA fantasy podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome to the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast, brought to you by Basketball Monster. My name is Josh Lloyd, and has anybody ever bought themselves, to eat for themselves, a packet of Ferrero Rocher? I'm also the lead fantasy analyst at basketballmonster.com, and you can find me on Blue Sky, joshloyd.bsky.social, on Twitter at redrock_Beeble, on TikTok at redrock_Beeble, and on Instagram at Locked On Fantasy Basketball. Today's episode is brought to you by PrizePicks. Download the PrizePicks app today, use the code LOCKEDONNBA, and get $50 instantly when you play $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It is guaranteed. PrizePicks, run your game. Also, double bang, thumb it up. Listen on audio, watch the video, subscribe here. Operation 90K Canadian annexation is coming up. Let's get there. All right, we are talking about Wednesday's games. There are 8 of them on across the NBA, the equal busiest day of the entire week. So let's just see what there is that we need to look at. Let's start with what is on my radar. With each individual game and who's in and who's out, of course, this stuff is always subject to change. The first game is the Pelicans taking on the Cleveland Cavaliers. At the moment, the Cavs are on a back-to-back, so they're playing on Tuesday, and we just actually got some injury updates for them for Tuesday's game. LeVert is out, Okoro is out, Dean Wade is out, but Merrill is in. Now, I don't know if any of that sort of stuff means that they're going to play on Wednesday or not. I would expect that Merrill being in means he plays on Wednesday too, but LeVert and Okoro and Wade, I'm not really sure. Schedule-wise, both teams have 2 games left, Wednesday, Friday for the Pelicans and Wednesday, Sunday for the Cavs, and then New Orleans goes into 4 in Week 6 and Cleveland goes into 3. Of course, New Orleans is still without Williamson, McCollum, Jones, Hawkins, Alvarado, and Murray. I also don't expect Trey Murphy to play. He sat out the second half of their back-to-back across the weekend, and this is the second game of a back-to-back for New Orleans as well. So I am listing Murphy doubtful at this point for this game. The other ones are those Cavs ones, so Strus is out, and then I don't know about Wade, LeVert, Okoro, and Merrill. Like I just said, the updates on that is that Wade, LeVert, and Okoro are all out on Tuesday for the game against Boston. We'll see whether they're available to play on Wednesday or not. The Cavs are 14-point favorites here in this one. Stream-wise, I think it is worth looking at because this is, again, working under the assumption that Trey Murphy is not available, that someone like Jeremiah Robinson-Earl will probably start and probably get 30 minutes, and he's not a very good player, obviously, but he does have the ability at times to put up pretty interesting fantasy numbers. So it's him, it's Javonte Green, it's Jalen Noel. There's a bunch of players with everybody out that could step up into something bigger. And then in Cleveland, Milk is probably the one we want to look at, but again, it's very hard to know because I don't know whether LeVert or Okoro or Wade are going to play. Now, if all those guys are out, then we are really, really diving deep into Milk. And people ask, why, man, what's the origin of you calling him Ty Jerome Milk? I didn't make it up. That's literally his nickname on Basketball Reference. And the reason is, I'm like 99% sure, it's because he's white. That's it. I didn't make it up. I just got it off Basketball Reference, and it's very, very funny. So that is why I use it. But Jerome has been shooting the absolute lights out, and in a situation where there might be other guards out, he would be very interesting to be able to step up into a larger role because, they wouldn't have many other guys to do it. The second game is the Chicago Bulls and the Milwaukee Bucks. In terms of spread available at the moment, we're talking Milwaukee 8-point favorites. Schedule-wise, both teams go Wednesday, Friday, Saturday. Chicago has 3 games week 6, and Milwaukee moves into a 2-game week. Lonzo's going to be out. I'm almost certain of that. Chris Middleton, I'm pretty certain he's going to be out there as well. And the other one is shoulder instability legend Ryan Rollins, who said that he was fine a week ago but hasn't played since. I'll list him questionable at this point. On the Chicago side of things, Odosumu has been pretty poor, I would say, even though the minutes for him have pushed up. They're 26 and then sometimes it's 30 and 31, but it doesn't really seem to matter what his minutes are. He's just not doing anything. Now, I do think there's room for Dosunmu to improve, but at this point, he's not really a must-roster guy. On the Milwaukee side, Brook Lopez, it's been a big roller coaster. Terrible games outrageously good games. He's in the midst of a really strong streak at the moment, and we're getting big minutes from Glenn Rivers. We'll see what happens, but if there's ever an opportunity to put up big numbers, it's when you go up against this Bulls team that A, plays at one of the fastest paces in the NBA and has a pretty bad defense. So just keep an eye on that and put the Bucks' performances into perspective against the Bulls, who do run at that incredibly fast pace. In terms of streams, guys, for Chicago, actually, there's another injury that Patrick Williams did just appear in the injury report with a foot issue. Now, he had a foot issue the end of last season. He was, out for a period of time. He wasn't completely ready to start training camp, but then he was ready to go. And now it appears that maybe something's flaring up because he was probable last game and now he's questionable. If he is out, we get more interested in Dosunmu, and maybe, hopefully, we get a little bit of Matas Buzelis. Maybe? I don't know. We'll find out. But otherwise, Jalen Smith, who's putting up some very good per-minute numbers. He'd be the stream guy. He's not a 12-team guy, pretty obviously. This is deeper league stuff, the double Onyx special, but yeah, he's there. And then for the Bucks, the artist formerly known as Taurean Prince, the only reason I feel like I'm saying his name is, A, I get to do a gag, but also the minutes are there. Like, he is a starter. And that's good because Andre Jackson, AJ Green, Gary Trent, DeLon Wright, they're all over the shop. I don't know who's going to play minutes or who's going to start or what's going to happen. Last game it was Jackson. He played 5 minutes and he was done. And AJ Green started the second half, but it was Gary Trent who played the most minutes. So shout out to trying to figure that out. But Prince is going to start while Middleton is out. He'll have good games. Most of them will be bad, but at least there is a floor of a minute sort of a downside minutes worst case scenario, I guess. Even though that's a very convoluted way of saying he's starting and his minutes feel more secure. The third game of the day, the Philadelphia 76ers and the Memphis Grizzlies. Memphis comes into this one on a back-to-back. They play on Tuesday. The Sixers go Wednesday, Friday, Sunday this week, and then into another 2-game week next week, their second 2-game week of the season. And then Memphis has Wednesday, Saturday into 4 games in week 6. Tyrese Maxey, he's questionable. So we're getting him back very soon. It's not an official questionable status, but that's where I am. That's where I'm putting him. So we'll see whether he plays or not. I'd imagine there'd be a marginal minutes limit coming off a hamstring. He also may not play, but I am putting him as at least on the radar that the return is coming. Ja Morant will be out. GG Jackson will be out. I saw something saying that Ja Morant was telling people that he's going to beat his timeline. Okay, that's great, man. What's the timeline? I'm also going to beat my timeline. You don't know what it is, but I'm going to beat it. All they said was week to week. So, like Demetrius, if you're going to come out and say, yeah, I'm ahead of schedule, I'm beating my timeline, it actually means nothing if you don't know what your timeline is. Your timeline could have been 6 months and you'll be back in 5 and you still beat it. So, sick. Thank you for the update. I don't know what it means. He's out. GG Jackson's out. Zach Edey is out on Tuesday. I don't think that Edey, given the way that he had to be helped off the court across the weekend, I don't think that he'll play on Wednesday, but I'm not 100% certain. I've put him as a doubtful tag there. I'm also putting Vince Williams as a doubtful tag because I think he's going to play on Tuesday. I'm certain he's going to play on Tuesday, and then he's coming off the stress reactions in his leg, and it is a back-to-back for his third game back. I don't think he'll play, but I don't know about Edey and Williams, but anything that I'm talking about with the Grizzlies is under the assumption they don't play on Wednesday. Marcus Smart remains questionable for Tuesday's game. He's dealing with an illness. I would expect that if he plays Tuesday, he's fine Wednesday. I would also expect that if he's out Tuesday, that he'll probably give it a go on Wednesday. That would be my guess on Marcus Smart. So what do I want to watch? On the Sixers, Joel Embiid. It's been bad. Not only did he not play for the first 4 weeks of the season, or 3 weeks of the season, or whatever it was, he hasn't been very good in the minutes he's been out there. There was something interesting in the last game. They were getting blown out. McCain and George were sitting on the bench, and Embiid came back in while it was a blowout and started to play much better. Now, was that just to get some shots up, just to get a bit of rhythm back? But something sort of looked different. Bro's not taking any free throws at all. He's obviously hurt, and I do worry that he's never going to get back to the old Embiid. I have that worry. I don't know that that's true. But I want to see, let's do something dominating here. The Grizzlies are on the back-to-back, like I said. In terms of stream, guys, Caleb Martin is available in a lot of different spots, and much like with Taurean Prince, he can give you nothing, but he can give you something better than Prince as well. And he's available in a lot of different spots. While for Memphis, I think Jake LaRavia is worth a look. If Edey is out, you put Jay Huff and Brandon Clark in there, but LaRavia should bump up if we do have a situation where Vince Williams is out, and there's a possibility that Marcus Smart is not actually available to play. So that would really boost that value there of old mate Jake LaRavia. We're going to come back, talk about the remaining 5 games, including the Blazers up against the Thunder and what the hell happens with Delano Banton. But today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. Get ready to tackle the NFL action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, if you are a new customer and you place a $5 bet and you win that first $5 bet, you will get $150 in bonus bets guaranteed. The FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything that you could possibly need and want and desire and yearn for when placing those live NFL bets. You open it up, you get a hunch, something's cracking on the screen, and you see what's happening. Troy Aikman saying something, you go, Troy, no, I know, man. I got a live bet to place. You open it up, and on that screen, the same screen, you can see the bets, you can see the stats, and you can see the live updating play-by-play stuff. And then you've got all that information in your arsenal to be able to place that live NFL bet. So go to FanDuel.com today and get $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. Go to FanDuel.com. Never waste a hunch. Make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. And don't forget to gamble responsibly. Okay, let's get into the next game. We're talking about the Portland Trail Blazers and the Oklahoma City Thunder. Obviously, injuries all over the shop here, as it is in a lot of different teams. Portland's got a Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, so they've got a pretty chunky schedule coming up into 4 games the week after, whereas this is it for Oklahoma City. They don't play again this week. So if you're considering a Joe, a Wallace, not Moses Brown, a Brandon Carlson, a Dylan Jones, whatever, and Alex Caruso, like they're off after Wednesday. They both play 4 games in week 6. Matisse Thybulle's going to be out, and we don't have updates yet on the illness that Anthony Simons has, so I'm going to put him as questionable, and the bone bruise in DeAndre Ayton's finger. I believe they both practiced. I think they actually both will play here, but I don't know. And it is a busy little period here, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday for Portland. Chet's going to be out, Hartenstein's out, Pig Williams is out for the Thunder. And Isaiah Joe is out on Tuesday, and I don't know whether he'll be available to play on Wednesday. I'd also think, given the fact that Alex Caruso's had a little injury here, that he's playing on Tuesday, there is a chance, I haven't put it on the list, but there is a chance that Caruso sits on Wednesday. We need to watch Delano Banton, because he is getting a lot of minutes, right? He's playing well at the moment, he's doing a lot of stuff. The problem is that when this team, if Ayton and Simons plays, the 240 game is almost impossible to give Banton enough minutes. I don't know how you do it. You're going to have Scoot. You're going to have Sharp. By the way, Shaedon Sharp, while I'm not the greatest fan of his overall fantasy game, nor do I think that he is a superstar or anything like that, he's 43% rostered on Yahoo. Brandon Boston's 39. So I'm getting to this stage where over 50% of leagues on Yahoo are dead. Maybe it's 60. It's not, because 43% own Sharp. Maybe it is 60, because those numbers are insane. They're ridiculous. As much as I don't like Sharp, he needs to be rostered everywhere. So, yeah, we're getting to a stage where Yahoo did this ridiculous thing to artificially inflate their league participation numbers, and it's screwing with a lot of this stuff. So anyway, but if Sharp is there, and Simons is there, and Scoot is there, and Kamara is there, and Grant is there, and Avdir is there, and look, how does Banton get more than 15 minutes? Like, how? Do it. Try it. I've tried it many times. It's what I do. It's part of my job. Is I look at the 240 game every day for every single game, and like I'm trying to get Banton minutes, and I'd have to get Scoot playing like 18 and Kamara 26, and I don't know how you do it. I don't know how Banton plays enough, but every game he seems to be doing enough. He's a sky-high usage guy. He's a very weird player. Billups seems to love what he does, so I want to see how they figure that out. Of course, I always want to see what goes on with the centers. We have seen Rob Williams play more than Don Klingon, but what happens when Ayton returns? Does Ayton go back and play 30, or is he a 24-minute-a-night player now? And if so, how does Klingon and Williams play together? Who plays the 4? Do they play the 4 at all? For a team that's as annoying and bad as this, there's so many questions. I think Tamani Kamara, who's only 40% rostered, is a rosterable player, especially if Simons is out, or at least a streamable player. And then on the Thunder side of things, just take your pick. It could be Cason Wallace, it could be Aaron Wiggins. In deeper leagues, it's AJ Mitchell, and then keep an eye on what happens with Joe and what happens with Alex Caruso, whether those guys are or are not available. The Pacers taking on the Houston Rockets. We're in Houston for this game. The Rockets are pretty decent favorites here. They are, 6.5 point favorites. Schedule-wise, 3 games left for both teams. Wednesday, Friday, Sunday, Indiana. Into 4 games the week after, while Houston's Wednesday, Friday, Saturday into 3 games. I'm going to label Ben Shepherd out. I don't have an official one on that. I don't think he's playing. Nembhard out. Neesmith out. Miles Turner missed the last game with calf soreness. Hopefully just a rest situation. but we'll see. So I've got him questionable. And then John Furphy, the dildo, who left the last game with a wrist issue. If Shepherd is out, like I think, Furphy did have a chance for a 10-minute, 12-minute a night role, which for the double Onyx Platinum rose gold level players, that's an interesting guy, but I don't know that he's going to play. And then if Turner is out, they started Enrique Freeman last game, but it was a lot more Obi Toppin, and maybe it is the C-parter. Maybe it is Moses Brown who gets some playing time. Don't be shocked. So Brown allegedly is going to be available, so I've marked him with a probable tag there. On the Rockets side of things, Steven Adams played last game. That means he's probably going to sit here, so I've put him doubtful. While Cam Whitmore is dealing with knee soreness, he missed the last game. I'll put him questionable. Obi Toppin played 31 minutes last game. That was almost certainly because Miles Turner is out, but if Turner is out again, is that what they do? Will they really want Obi Toppin and Enrique Freeman guarding Alperen Şengün? Şengün might cook him for 70 points. Honestly, he might. Like Toppin, one of the worst defenders you'll ever see. So I want to see what they do with Toppin because he's 21 minutes, 25 minutes, 31, 18. This is happening a lot in the NBA at the moment, I've noticed, and we're getting so many players whose role varies a ton night by night. In terms of the Rockets, Amen Thompson is just, I don't know. Watch Amen Thompson. If you want something to do that's fun, watch a Rockets game. There's a lot of fun happening in that team. But go and watch a Rockets game and watch Amen Thompson and watch almost every game. And this is marginally hyperbolic, but the smallest. He does something in a game that you go, what was that? He did something yesterday where it was on like a pick and roll. He was the screener. Someone threw it to him and he caught it in midair. He pump faked a pass out to a corner shooter. He was at the free throw line. He pump faked a pass out to the guy at the corner in midair as he was catching it, put it on the ground, one dribble, 2-foot dunk. It sounds like it's nothing. But watch what I've never seen anyone do this. On the pick and roll, catches a ball that was thrown high, up in the air, fake pass down, one dribble up, dunk. What on earth is happening with this guy? He is the most insane athlete. Okay, who's the best athlete? He's the best athlete in the NBA. Like, it's not, I don't think I think he's a better athlete than his brother. The stuff that this man does is actually out of control. And it is one of the more fun things. And you would see, like, remember that clip the other day of him chasing that guy down for the poke behind steal? And you go, hang on, was this fast forwarded? It's stuff that you've never seen before. He does something you've never seen before almost every game. If only that we'd see him shoot well. That was a little bit long. Streams, Timothy John. With Ben Shepherd out, McConnell played 24 minutes, literally all he needs, and you roster him as long as Shepherd is out, and with a nice little 3-game in 5-night period coming up. Let's do it. And then Dylan Brooks got into foul trouble last game, but he'd been playing well prior to that, and he is just widely available because people hate Dylan Brooks. I get it. But there is value in that, and 3 games in 4 nights for the Rockets coming up. And I talked about this a little bit on yesterday's recap show, where we're trying to always hit the single-day streams, and these sort of players have so much individual variance that it's tough, that maybe we need to start looking at this stuff as like, let's see where the value lies in a little schedule play, and let's commit to it for 3 games in 4 nights, and maybe you get 2 good ones and 1 bad one, and maybe that's enough, versus trying to cycle through each time. And you got a 50-50 chance of good versus bad. And there's a chance that if you do that 3 times during the week, that what's the odds? Let me work those odds out. It's like a 13% chance that you get all duds, which is not that high, is it? Like, I mean, it's not that low of a chance that you just get like the worst performances you've ever seen. I think that's probability on that. Anyway, if you're talking 50-50s. So maybe we need to start looking into, let's try streamers and flyers for little chunks where the schedule makes more sense. But maybe not also. Not the last game. What are we talking about? There's 2 more to go. We're talking Hawks and Warriors. This is in Golden State. Atlanta is underdogs by 8.5 points, and the Hawks go Wednesday, Friday into 4 games in week 6, and the Warriors a 3-game chunk here, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday into 3. Jalen Johnson was a late scratch for the Hawks in the last game with leg soreness. I think he'll be okay, but I also just don't know, so I'm going to put him as questionable. While Vic Krejci rested the last game in his return, it was a back-to-back, so he didn't play. DeAnthony Melton's going to be out, of course, for the Warriors. Steph Curry was on the injury report last game. He played through it. Don't be shocked if you see him back or a random probable tag on like a Draymond Green. And Kevon Looney missed the last game due to illness. What do I want to watch? DeAndre Hunter. He did the DeAndre Hunter. What do you have? 24, 2-1 in the last game and shot 70%. I want to see what his minutes are. I want to see how much usage he gets. And I want to see because the shooting is not holding. We know that. So what you want to see is like, do something different. Add something else to your game. I don't think it's happening. And if you want to have him, that's okay. But it's just not going to be a regular thing for him. And then it's John Kuminga on the Warriors. Is this man literally just a 19-minute a night player? Because that's what it is at the moment, and it's not enough. His game is also not good enough from a fantasy perspective to demand more minutes. And I'm not here to tell Steve Kerr that John Kuminga's a good enough player to demand more minutes, because he's not. So I don't think he's a must-roster player, but let's see where his playing time goes. And then stream-wise, the Hawks don't have many guys that are available in a lot of different spots to streams. I've got Cody Bufkin there, but how does he and Krejci work together? If Bogdanovic is available, you use him. If Ricochet's there, he's the streamer. But they're all rostered in a sizable percentage of leagues. And then on the Warriors, Lindy Waters, the Hall Pass legend, he played 28 minutes last game. I expect that he starts again, but it could be Peyton, it could be Moody, it could be Pajemski, it could be Hield, it could be Kuminga. It won't be Kuminga. But there's a lot of different ways they can go, which makes it really, really annoying. So maybe it is Lindy Waters, but yeah, you don't want to get too invested down in that rabbit hole. We've got a couple more games to look at, then we'll look at some schedule stuff, and we'll look at the streams of the day. But today's episode is brought to you by Prize Picks. Prize Picks is the best place to get real money sports action. Over 10 million members and billions of dollars in payouts. Prize Picks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. What you do on Prize Picks, I think you know how it goes by now. You go in there with the individual players and all their individual stat projections, and you just look at them. You pick 2 of them, and you go more or less. That's it. Well, sorry, at least 2. You can go up to 6. And you can win up to 100x your money if you hit as few as 4 of those. There's so many different features they've got, including the only daily fantasy sports provider with the injury insurance policy. So if one of your players gets hurt in the first half and doesn't return, your lineup still stays live. It's not done. Injury insurance policy, along with everything else they do. That is why PrizePicks is the GOAT. Download the app today and use the code LOCKEDONNBA to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Download the app today and use the code LOCKEDONNBA to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks, run your game. Let's go through these last 2 games now. This one is the Knicks and the Suns. We're in Phoenix. The Knicks were able to get themselves right last game against the Wizards, but, that's the Wizards. Now they play a Phoenix team which is in trouble, losing a lot of players, injured at the moment, and that's causing some issues. The Knicks are actually 5.5-point favorites on the road. Shows you where Phoenix is at. Also shows me that the old odds makers, Vangel, might think that Brad Beal isn't playing. The Knicks go Wednesday, Saturday, into 4 games the week after, and this is it for Phoenix. This is their last game of the week. So no matter what happens here, whether it's a big Royce O'Neal or Grayson Allen or Oscar Iguodala or Mason Plumlee or Ryan Dunn game, you don't care because you just don't hold them after this. So who's out? Mitchell Robinson's out. Precious Achiuwa's out. Juice McBride's missed the last couple, so I'll put him as a questionable tag here. And with him out, or if he is out, Cameron Payne is the guy who's been doing some stuff. We know that KD is going to be out for Phoenix, Kevin Durant. Bradley Beal's missed 2 straight with a calf issue. I would think that it would make sense. I know that they need to win, but I think it would make sense for Beal to sit this one out and then have all of the rest of the week to rest up and then be fully ready to go. But, I don't know that that's what they'll do. And then Yusuf Nurkic dealing with this ankle thing. I also think that he's been dealing with this for a week or so. I think there's a decent chance that he doesn't play here as well, given, again, that spread suggests that both of those things are true. Mikal Bridges goes back to play his former team in Phoenix. Talked about him on the Buy Low show earlier today. How there's just a lot not happening. He's not hitting threes. He's not taking any free throws. He's not getting any steals. And he's going to be better than that. Is the revenge game what he needs? I don't know. But irrespective of that, he's just going to be better. And we'll see whether it turns around here. On the Phoenix side, we also need Devin Booker to be better. It has been a lackluster start for Booker. He's not bad, but he will be better. I'm hoping. He just hasn't been there at all. And the Suns are actually playing really well to begin the season. In terms of stream guys, it's probably Campaign. He elevates even more if McBride is out. And then it's Grayson Allen over Royce O'Neal, who's doing absolutely nothing. But way more could open up. Iguodala, Plumlee, Okogie putting up numbers, depending on who's in or out. But Allen's at least a little bit more secure in terms of if Beal and Nurkic plays, Allen still has value. But if those guys are out, then you might get the elevation of a Plumlee or an Iguodala into a better position. For the Magic and the Clippers, the final game of the day. We're in LA here. the spread is actually there. It's an even spread. It's a pick'em for this game. The schedule is Wednesday, Thursday, Saturday for Orlando. By the way, they are the only team with a Wednesday, Thursday back-to-back, the Magic. So, only team. And they go into 4 games in week 6, while the Clippers have 3 games as well. Wednesday, Friday, Sunday, into 4 games. Banchero is out. But I think we are going to be getting Wendell Carter Jr. back for one of these 2 games. Whether it's Wednesday or Thursday, I don't know. I feel very confident in saying he won't play both, coming back from plantar fasciitis. You could hold your Goga if you want, but I also think that you might be wanting to let go of your Goga, drop your Badadzes, so to speak, when Carter is back. But also, I'll continue to say, if there is something desperate on the waiver wire you need to grab with long-term value, I have no problem removing Badadze from your roster. But also, if you don't need to and there's nothing super pressing, then hold and see what happens with Wendell and how they run it. I'm 90% sure that Goga goes back and plays like 10 minutes maybe. But I also don't know that. On the Clipper side of things, Kawhi Leonard remains out. There was an update. Apparently, he's doing some shooting, which I'll be honest with you, I don't care. And I didn't even really talk about it because I don't think it means anything. Oh, cool. What does that mean? Does that mean that up until now, he's been doing no shooting? That's actually worse to me. He's doing nothing all this time. That's way worse. He had surgery in May. He's doing nothing. What did he do at Team USA camp? That's way worse to me. Now the update is now he's shooting. I don't think it means there's any sort of imminent return for Kawhi. There's no way he plays in November. That's not happening, surely. But yeah, so that report, it was something, but you know how many times we've heard garbage reports about Kawhi? I know, 1 million times. Yeah, Kawhi, maybe he's going to push to come back. Yeah, it never happens. So, sorry if I don't choose to believe these reports that mean anything. And then Norman Powell, I just chucked a Q tag on Norm Powell because last game he hurt his hamstring. He spent 10 minutes or so in the locker room. Foolishly, he came back out and finished the game, which we've never seen that go wrong, ever. Never. Shout out Tyrese Maxey. Never seen it go wrong. Finished the game out, shot well. He might not be on the injury report, but I'm just going to put a preemptive Q tag just so we're aware of it. What are we watching for on the Magic? Jalen Suggs is sucking at the moment. He's bad. The assists are down. The shot is way off. It's like last year he really took a step forward, and early in the season he was shooting well, but it is massively off. So, is that the thing now? Is he back to being a bad shooter? That's what we're watching, isn't it? And on the Clippers side of things, Kevin Porter Jr. had played good minutes. Last game, his minutes were well down. And I didn't mention this on the show yesterday, he did suffer a bit of a fall, so it's probably a little bit harsh on him. But look, that's what we want to see. Is he back to 25 or is he back to 17 as that sort of role? And then the guy we got to look at is Mr. Black, because Anthony Black was unbelievable last game. But what Anthony Black do we get? The 4-1-1 game? Or the 28-3 with 2 steals and 3 blocks? Which one is what we get? If we get a bit of consistency, then yeah, we're all in. And if you want to stream him, do it. Like, he's a very interesting stream guy. But the game log tells a very, very confusing story. On the Clippers side of things, it probably is Porter as the stream. Otherwise, we go to someone like an Amir Coffey as a decent enough streamer, the old Farmers Union himself. Let's have a look at what we can do schedule-wise across this slate of games. Like I said, only back-to-back team is the Magic. So you can Tavius Caldwell-Popes and Mr. Black and Tristan Da Silva and Goga Badadze and Mo Wagner. There is a lot that's able to be streamed in on that Magic team. In deeper leagues, you can look at old Aravinda, Tristan Da Silva. You can get him in there as well. There's a lot of different options on that Magic team to stream in, given they are the only back-to-back team that's out there and going. But if we go chunky, if we look at the rest of the week, Wednesday through to Sunday, 5 days worth of games, all of these players are available in over 55% of Yahoo leagues, which again, maybe I'm going to bring that threshold down. 3 games in 5 nights. Now, Pat Williams is on the questionable tag, so we be careful of that. But Williams and Dosunmu with the Bulls, Mo Wagner, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, and Black, and Badadze, and all those guys in Orlando. And in Indiana, we go to TJ McConnell, we go to Jarris Walker, we go to Obi Toppin, we go in deeper leagues to maybe Moses Brown, probably not, but Enrique Freeman, deep leagues, John Furphy, probably not. But all options there across with those teams who actually do have quite a few different options for us to use on the waiver wire. We get the 3 and 5 happening, some of those with 3 and 4 as well, to give us a little bit of that extra boost and hopefully insulating us against significant downside risk. Let's take a look at the streams of the day, and with 8 games on, you'd think there'd be a bunch of really good streamers, and there's not. The stream options that come up at this point, I really don't like them. Like, they're fine, but I don't look at them and go, yeah, that's like unbelievable. And you'll see when I talk about the names, there's a million risky pieces here. I think TJ McConnell sits as the best stream for the day. With Ben Shepherd out almost definitely, I'm expecting TJ to play 24 to 25 minutes. 12, 5, 5, 3 steals, absolutely a possibility on 55% shooting. That's useful. And I feel good about that one, sort of. 12-team category, though, I go to Jarris Walker. He's available everywhere, but he stunk last game. Now, he can have 6, 5, 3, 2, 1, and that's okay, but there is opportunity there for him. 14-team, Javonte Green projects well, but man, I couldn't have any confidence in that man. None at all. But he's going to have to play minutes because I don't think Trey Murphy's there. And then for 16-teamers, like Brandon Clark, because I don't think Edie's there, but Clark's also been pretty bad most of this season. You can also throw Jay Huff into that mix too. For Yahoo points, Jalen Noel, well, we know one thing he does, and that's score, and we know the thing that's really highly correlated onto Yahoo fantasy points, it's usage in minutes, and he's going to get both of those things. And then for ESPN points, probably TJ McConnell tips over the top of that one there. Let's just run through some other names to stream. We're talking 10-teamers. We start with TJ McConnell. We go to Jarris Walker, Javonte Green, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, Brandon Clark, and Jeremiah Robinson-Earl, understanding that the Pelicans ones are to do with the fact that I don't expect Trey Murphy to be there. Next, we go down to the 12-team list, and there's Grayson Allen, who could easily bump into 10s. There's Kaysen Wallace, who will depend what happens with Joe, and Caruso, his value could go up and down. I'm not sure where it goes. Tamani Kamara, Aaron Wiggins, Jake LaRavia, working under the assumption that Vince Williams is out. Jay Huff, working under the assumption that Zach Edey is out there as well. And for deeper leagues in categories, there's Jalen Noel, who will score, but yeah, he struggles in a lot of different spots. There's Lindy Waters, who might play 15 minutes or he might play 30. Really hard to know that. Caleb Barton's a low upside player with a strong floor. Ryan Dunn, Obi Toppin, and DeLon Wright, who I do think will keep minutes over Ryan Rollins, given that he's played well the last couple, but Glenn could really screw that up. And then Yahoo points and ESPN points, the list came out pretty much the same, and then somehow my Yahoo points list disappeared, so I apologize for that. But we do have TJ McConnell on there. We've got Jalen Noel, Jeremiah Robinson-Earl, Ayo Dosunmu, Brandon Clark, and Aaron Wiggins as points league stream. And yeah, like it says ESPN points, that is relatively applicable to Yahoo. Just stick Jalen Noel up ahead of TJ McConnell for your Yahoo list. And that, guys, is the daily look ahead for Wednesday's show. Keep an eye on my Blue Sky account, on my Twitter account, the BBM Alerts accounts as well to see news as it breaks. We'll be back with a recap show of the, was it 7 games? 7 games on Tuesday. In the meantime, hit the thumb, subscribe, leave your comments. Guys, we are done here. Thank you so much for listening, everyone. See ya. Ready for another post-credit scene? Because some updates just dropped right now. DeAndre Ayton, doubtful. Anthony Simons, questionable. Kyle Lowry with a hip injury, out for 3 games. Juice McBride, out. Anthony Simons, officially questionable. And Ben Shepherd did actually get upgraded to questionable. So there you go. There you go. Late minute breaking news. Now I'll see you.